Imagine a world where the Korean Peninsula isn't split by a DMZ, but united under a single flag. No war-torn cities, no divided families, and no nuclear tensions. This isn't science fiction. It's a reality that almost happened. What if, in 1950, the United Nations had stepped in early to stop the Korean War before it began? Let's rewrite history. The Korean War began when North Korean forces crossed the 38th parallel in June 1950, igniting a brutal conflict that killed millions and cemented the division of Korea. But what if the UN, fresh off its post-World War II triumph, had acted sooner? In our timeline, the UN authorized a military coalition to defend South Korea after the invasion. But in this alternate universe, let's rewind to 1949. The Cold War is simmering, and Korea is a powder keg. The UN, determined to prove its newfound power, brokers a deal. Here's the twist. Soviet leader Joseph Stalin, wary of provoking the West, agrees to pressure North Korea's Kim Il-sung to abandon his invasion plans. Meanwhile, the UN convinces South Korea's Syngman Rhee to delay his own militaristic ambitions. A neutral, transitional government is formed, supervised by UN peacekeepers, with free elections promised within 2 years. No tanks roll south, no bombs fall, the war is avoided. But this isn't just about Korea. A UN success here reshapes global politics overnight. The organization cements its role as a true peacekeeper, not just a forum for superpower arguments. The US and USSR, stunned by the UN's effectiveness, start treating it as a legitimate mediator. The Cold War thaws slightly. No Cuban Missile Crisis, no proxy wars in Africa. Instead, a tense but stable détente emerges. Fast forward to 1960, Korea, unified under a democratic socialist hybrid government, becomes an economic powerhouse decades earlier. Without the devastation of war, its industries boom. Think of a Seoul-like metropolis stretching from Busan to Pyongyang. Skyscrapers, tech hubs, and a cultural wave rivaling Japan's. This Korea partners with both the US and China, balancing East-West relations. The Asian tiger isn't just South Korea, it's the entire peninsula. But there's a catch. A strong independent Korea threatens regional powers. China, lacking a buffer state, grows paranoid about American influence on its border. Japan, feeling overshadowed, accelerates its own rearmament. The Pacific becomes a chessboard of economic rivalry, not military blocs. Meanwhile, Korea's unification inspires movements in Germany, Vietnam, and beyond. The 20th century's divided nations playbook is torn up. Now, the biggest ripple. Without the Korean War, the US never fully embraces its policeman of the world role. The military-industrial complex stays smaller. Vietnam. Without Korea as a precedent, America hesitates to intervene. The French might retain Indochina, altering Southeast Asia's decolonization. Closer to home, McCarthyism fizzles. No Red Scare hysteria. Pop culture shifts too. No Maz Yeach, no Kim Jong-un memes, and K-pop anthems blend traditional panzori with Soviet-inspired folk. Yet not all changes are positive. A weaker US presence in Asia emboldens the USSR. The 1970s energy crisis hits harder as Soviet oil dominates markets. Europe leans neutral, NATO weakens, and the Middle East becomes a Soviet-American battleground earlier. The world is safer from nuclear war, but more fragmented economically. So would a UN-prevented Korean War create a utopia? Not exactly. History is a web of trade-offs. But one thing's clear. The Korean War wasn't just a regional conflict. It defined the Cold War's rules. The real lesson? Sometimes the wars we prevent matter more than the ones we win. What if the next time a crisis erupts, the world chooses diplomacy over destruction?
This is Bytes of Goats, where we don't just talk about history, we learn from it. See you in the next one.